Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Car Addiction. Today's topic is me. It's been some time. I wanted to introduce myself, and I also wanted to discuss my addiction with cars. That's why you see me around cars and buying a lot of cars, buying things that I shouldn't be buying, and yeah, spending a lot of money, time and effort with cars because yes, I have a car addiction. If you think you have car addiction and you live somewhere in Ontario, Canada, hit me up. Maybe you can be on my next video as my next subject. Hi, my name is Sadoon Muhyiddin. I live in Georgetown, Ontario. I'm 31 years old. I'm married and I'm expecting a child. I work in business development and sales position, and I'm a car addict. My fascination with cars started at a very early age. As far as I can remember, maybe when I was 3 or 4 years old, I was always attracted to car toys. And then when I was probably 8 or 9 years old and I understood the car and how it works, I always would ask a lot of questions to my father, asking how the different mechanisms the car work, and I would always know, looking at a vehicle on the road, what make and model it is, and the other vehicle specs that comes with it. And whenever I see something new on the road, oh my God, I have to follow the car and talk to the owner and find out more specs about that. Or I think my fascination with cars started when I was a little kid, and my father was in the Bangladesh military, and he spent time on remote locations, and he would actually take the whole family with him. My brother who went to the military school, so he'd stayed at the military school. So me and my mom would be the person joining him in very remote locations, and most of the places they were not really other kids to play around with. All I had was this yellow Tonka truck, and I had a lanyard in front of it. I'll hold it, and I would basically run around the place with a Tonka truck behind me, and that was my first toy, and that's the toy I associate my childhood with, and still today it is my favorite toy. That toy is not there anymore because I played it so much it literally disintegrated in front of me, but if I can have the toy back, that would be great. And I think that's where my fascination with cars started, because of that little Tonka truck, and from there I started buying more tiny little cars, Hot Wheels, and I would say that's pretty much it. Growing up, I wasn't really into sports that much at all. I can spend an evening just playing boom, boom, boom with two cars, and that was awesome for me. Well, yeah, I'm not really a book reader or anything like that. And when it comes to PC games, of course, Fast and Furious was the holy grail. Before that, it was all these Need for Speed, and I memorized every track and I played them a million times each. So yeah, I guess that's, I started driving at a very early stage. I believe I was in grade 8. Basically, my father said, if you can touch the bottom of the clutch pedal on the vehicle, you can drive. Well, it was about grade 8 when I started driving. So I wouldn't say my first car was a Toyota Corolla, because it's not the car that I bought, it was my father's car. So my first car was a 2005 Nissan Sentra R, and it was absolutely horrible. Oh my God, I do not have a single good memory with that vehicle. Since I bought the vehicle, I had nothing but problems, this and that, and all the other electrical issues that comes with an 05 Sentra. I had it. The nail on the coffin was on a New Year's Eve with an extreme cold weather alert. I was stuck on the side of a highway and I had to wait about an hour and 45 minutes before the tow truck came in. And at that time, I was just freezing to death inside the vehicle. I think it was about, with the wind chill, it was about 40 degrees centigrade. So yeah, and I towed the vehicle to home and that was it. I said, you know what, I'm not spending a single dime on this vehicle anymore. It's time to put it down and move on with my life. As of right now, I owned about 24 different vehicles. That will give you a rough idea of my addiction with cars. I go through a lot of cars. I buy a vehicle, I spend probably a couple of months driving it around, and very soon I'm usually over that and I sell and I buy something else again and I enjoy it for another season and usually move on. Among all the cars that I have ever owned, my favorite car is the one I'm sitting in front of. It's my 300ZX Twin Turbo. This is my absolute favorite car. I don't know why. I don't really have much words to explain the reason, but for some reason this is the car I just feel attached to. Every time I take it out for a drive, I am content, I am happy, and I come back with a smile on my face. And when I go for a drive, I usually go for a drive alone. I don't really take my wife. I probably should take her more often. Every car guy has a dream car or a poster car, and if I tell you I have a dream car or poster car, I would probably be lying because it's not one car. It's probably going to be 10, and very top of the list it will be a McLaren F1 because it is just absolutely stunning, an engineering marvel of a vehicle. And right behind that would be a McLaren 12C, and behind that will be a Jaguar XJ220, and right behind that will be a Jaguar E-Type, and right behind that will be a Ford GT40, and so on. I can go all day. There's probably more than 10. To be honest with you, I really like the Canadian landscape. My ultimate road trip would be driving from East Coast to West Coast, especially the corridor between Calgary and Vancouver Island. A couple of years ago, I did go for a road trip with my wife, and it was a beautiful 9-day road trip. So we flew to Surrey, BC, and then we rented a vehicle, and then we started driving from Surrey to Calgary, and we drove on the south side of the Rockies, and we stopped at every national park that came on the way. It was absolutely stunning. The beauty is just mesmerizing. I don't know, I just don't have words to explain it. And then we reached at Calgary, and then we spent 2 days just going around Banff and Lake Louise, and then we started driving back. So we decided we're going to drive back on the north side of the Rockies because we saw the Rockies from one side, we might as well see it from the other side. That was one of the other best decisions we took on that road trip, and can't explain the amount of joy that I had, and man, it was amazing. And I will go on that road trip on a heartbeat, given that the perfect weather and the perfect car. One of the cars that I regret not buying is, again, that would be a lie. There's 2 cars that I regret not buying. Let's tell you both. The first car is going to be a 96 Porsche 944. When I went to see the car, it was a beautiful car. It drove fine, and the body was perfect and everything. What bothered me was a whine from the transmission, and at that time I just didn't realize where that whine is coming from and what is causing the whine, because the shift was smooth. If you were going through the gears, you're banging through the gears like smooth. The tranny was amazing. I just couldn't find why the whine was coming from. Anyway, I made an offer because in my head I thought I needed a new tranny and that would cost an arm and a leg, so I lowballed the guy and we ended up not closing the deal. That was a mistake. Later I found out that car, one of the 50944, it came from the factory with a straight cut gearbox. I kept kicking myself for weeks. The car was sold about 20 minutes after I left. The second car that got away was, it happened pretty recently, and I kind of wasn't too motivated to buy when I was there. It's a 1983 first-gen Toyota Supra, or the Celica Supra with a square body, looks like that. The car had a 2jz in it, so it was a 2jz conversion. Not a 2jz with the turbo, just a 2jz from an IS 300, which is still a fantastic motor with a 5-speed and everything. The reason I was a little shy to pull the trigger on the car was it wasn't really a button-up vehicle. The conversion was not properly done. It was poorly made, and the engine ran very rich. When I was going through the gears, it was, I don't know, it just didn't feel right. But the price was right. I lowballed the guy. Again, I left. Within half an hour, the car was sold because I called back and I agreed to pay the price because I realized I'm being a jerk. And yeah, the car was sold. I'm sure he got the price he wanted, and yeah, that's another car that got away. I don't think I'll come across another 83 first-gen Toyota Supra with a 2jz on it at next to nothing. Like, the guy was asking less than what it cost me to get a 2jz. Well, let's talk about finances. Being a car guy, it's great and all that, but it's not cheap. It's an addiction. It's like, it's a bad addiction. It's an expensive addiction. There are a lot of things I do to keep up with the finances. One of the agreements with me and my wife is I'm not going to take any money from my day job for my car addiction. I have to figure out different creative ways to make an extra cash that I can spend on it. So I do side jobs, this and that, slave my ass. I come home every day after work. I come home every day 5:30, 6 o'clock, and then maybe I step out to do something else. And every day I figure out to do something different. And yeah, that's where most of my income comes from for my car addiction. Well, my current car, I have been a good boy. I don't have too many cars right now, which is good for me, and my wife loves me for it until yesterday. Just bought a car. Now, I have that 300ZX twin turbo. It's modified, not highly modified. I'm going that route, but it drives like snot. I have a 02 S55 AMG that will be my wife's winter beater, or her pregnancy car. I'm interested to see how that goes. And then I have a MR2 project vehicle that I kind of want to shoot myself for taking that. It's a little bigger project than I expected it to be, and it just, things went round and round and round through the rabbit hole, and had to drop so much cash to it. I have a ledger that I'm keeping, and it just, every time I add another number to that, it's just, oh. And then my daily driver is a 2014 Santa Fe, and my wife drives a Ford Escape. Well, the car that I bought yesterday it's an interesting vehicle again. The deal came on my lap, and the price was right, and got it. It's a 95 300ZX NA with a twin turbo swap and a stick. I paid next to nothing for it, and I broke the news to my wife after I bought it, and she screamed at me for a straight 20 minutes, and after that she was like, all right, when are you getting rid of it? I'm like, oh, well, I didn't even receive the car yet. I will have it on the weekend. So a bunch of videos coming with that. Yeah, that's my setup. Well, that's my story. That's my car addiction, and congratulations, you have made it to the end. And there are a lot more interesting stories will come, and please hit the like and subscribe button and the bell button to keep updated with all the videos that comes in this channel.